In the last session, we discussed about the principle of pratyahar. We are discussing about the 8 limbs of yoga. And today, we shall talk about the next limb, which is called as the dharana. So as I told you yesterday also, the first 4 limbs are called as the Bahiranga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana and Pranayama. These are something external that you do with your body, breath and behavior. Then the transition comes in Pratyahara, where you try to withdraw all your attention inside by shutting down all the sense organs. And then comes the Antaranga Yoga. So the last 3 limbs are called as the Antaranga Yoga. And they are 3: Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Now these words appear very heavy and we think that these are the things which are very, very difficult to achieve, and some advanced yogi only would be able to achieve these kind of states. But what I would like to tell you is that in our day-to-day life also, many a times we go through these states. One example I would like to give. Dharana, as defined by Patanjali, is Desha Bandha Chittasya Dharana. Desh means space. Chitta means the mind. Mind getting locked up in a particular space for a long time. Another way in which you can define it is a sustained attention with a sustained flow of the consciousness towards the object limited in a particular space is called as dharana. So you know that story that when the Guru Dronacharya asked Arjuna to point with his bow and then ask, what can you see? He asked all the disciples, but only the Arjuna could say that he only sees the target and nothing else, only the bird's eye. So this state is dharana, where you just focus on one thing and that only thing remains in your mind. So Bhagavad Gita says, Shaneh Shaneh Ruparamet Buddhya Dhriti Grahitaya Atma Samstham Manah Kritva Na Kinchidapi Chintayet. It means slowly, gradually, one should try to bring the mind again and again to the point of concentration. And once it gets stabilized, one should not allow it to get disturbed. So dharana involves practice and it involves repeated efforts, abhyasa, to bring that one pointed thing. Usually in a random state of mind, which is in yoga is called as chanchalata. Chanchalata is defined as multiple thoughts about multiple objects. So you are sitting here, you are also thinking about your home, you are in between office is coming, in it when some old friend is coming. This is all chanchalata. From chanchalata, the next step that we move in is known as ekagrata. In day-to-day life, we call it as concentration. Here what happens is that there are multiple thoughts, but only about one object. Say now you are listening to me. As I am talking, you are also getting some thoughts, but your all thoughts are related to what I am talking. So from multiple thought, multiple objects, chanchalata, you gradually, as you sit still, you reach a state of ekagrata, where there are multiple thoughts about single object. Dharana is a state one step further than concentration. Here, you have a single thought about a single object. In fact, that single thought is the act only that you are attentive of that object. When you are able to observe that sustained single pointed attention towards the object, initially done with effort. Thoughts will come, they will try to distract you. Again, you will bring your attention back and focus on it. So this can be, but remember that in the 8 limbs of yoga, this is coming after Pratyahara, means all your sense organs are already closed. It means you are doing it in your mental space. You are already inside and you are bringing a object of concentration in your mind, and you are bringing your attention again and again to it. How strong is your ability to have dharana can be measured. You can do a simple experiment. You can light a lamp, close all the lights, focus on it, keep looking at it. Keep looking till you have only one thought, that is looking at the lamp, the light, the flame. And then once you have sufficiently focused and you can keep it in the mind, you close your eyes and try to bring the same flame in your mental space, the flame of the candle. And see how long you are able to retain it there. And it will go away, and again you have to focus. Then you have to open your eyes again, look at it, again internalize and project it on your mental space. So how long you are able to keep that flame there? It can be a candle flame, which is much more stimulating and easy to retain. But in a subtler practices, it can be the sound Om, it can be the image of Om, it can be the image of your deity, or it can simply be an idea of expansion and becoming one with everything. So anything like that which you bring into your mental space and try to keep it with effort is called as dharana. From dharana, when the same flow of consciousness moving towards it becomes slowly and slowly effortless, then you call it as dhyana. Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. So towards that object, the consciousness flow without any effort, that is called as meditation. You started chanting the word Om, you did it with effortfully, and then you started getting that sound in your mind again and again, that Om kept repeating, and then you reach a state when Om goes on its own without your effort, and you are merging into it. That state, according to Patanjali, is called as the dhyana. And then finally comes a state where the subject dissolves and only the object remains. Tadev artha matra nirbhasam swarupa shunyam iva samadhi. Only the object remains and the swarupa, the observer, dissolves and becomes zero. That state is called as samadhi. So you become one with the object of concentration and attention. Now, this you may feel that you would not have observed this in your life and it is very rare phenomena. But I would like to give an example. See, every one of us have certain tendencies where we do the activity which we really enjoy, we tend to merge ourselves into that. Imagine that there is a great dancer, okay? And when she started learning the dance, initially she has to become more concentrated. She has to concentrate on the music, beat, and manage her steps of dancing with the music. Slowly, as she becomes more and more focused, going into dharana, her ability to match the beat with her moves becomes more and more refined. She may not miss even a single beat. And she keeps on practicing for a longer and longer time. And then she realizes that her whole system has got so merged into that music that even without consciously thinking about the beat, her body moves with the beat. Effortless dancing. Initially it becomes effortful, it requires more attention, but then it reaches a point where it becomes an effortless, flawless dance. Then I would say that she is in meditation. And one fine day, she is just dancing. She's not dancing for anybody. She's just dancing for herself. And there comes a point where she becomes the dance. She's not there. Dance is there. Then she has touched a state of samadhi. So here the Karma Yoga principle of doing the action with joy and doing the action with complete dedication without seeking the results really applies. So I'm sure many of us would have gone through these states where we forget ourselves in doing something. A writer forgets himself in writing, he becomes one with the character. This is samadhi. Or we see that a player, while playing, completely forgets. He just becomes the play. He becomes one with the ball, one with the bat. As if he's possessed by some different energy and he's not there. So that kind of state of mind can be seen. It can be very simple things also. You are in the act of cleaning things and you do it with such joy and involvement that cleaning utensils itself can bring you to that state of meditation and joy. It does not require very high fine art kind of functions. So this is how our yogic states, the sages, Patanjali describes these higher states. And he says that when you follow, you make the base right, the Bahiranga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, then the atmosphere becomes more conducive for you to enter into these states while doing your activity. Number of research papers now show that practice of these basic limbs of yoga improves your attention, improves sustained attention, improves your ability to focus and defocus. It is not only important to enter into a thing, but also equally important is to be able to come out at will. So these kind of abilities, the higher capabilities of the mind, can be developed by regular practice of yoga. You imagine how a dancer practices and then reaches a level. Like that, yoga also will require years of effort. People do it for 9 years, 10 years, 11 years, but then they reach somewhere. That cognitive flexibility can come by regular practice of yoga. Thank you very much for your patient listening.